And the lights are following. This is cool. I'm thinking that's great. So we do the set. We come off, and we're going to do our encore. And he said, "You want to join us on stage?" So this is where this picture is. Paul comes up. We have a guitar ready for him. Todd's standing there, and Gene comes up to me, and I basically said, "This is my band, and I play bass. You're welcome to sing." And he gave me a look, and I just went. I stuck my tongue out. That's all I could. But from that day forward, he always treated me very nicely whenever we saw each other. Now, I'm not a vindictive kind of guy, but if he would have just done it the right way, of course I would have let him play bass. But go online and check this picture out. But I want you to look at one thing. The look on Paul Stanley's face as he's looking over the stage with this like, oh my God, Gene's playing bass. He's standing there like this. You have to see it. The story will make more sense if you're able to see it.
I think Gene had a real, in the end, he had a great attitude about it. I've known Gene since.
No, he did not at all.
I've known him since 1979. I met him in LA when I first moved to LA, and I was with another band. And I'll be damned, he didn't remember me so many years later when Gene signed me to his label after the Comet in 1990. But I think the rest of the night he took it pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, it was all in good fun.
Yeah.
And the people in attendance were like flabbergasted that there they were, the three of them back on stage. And later on in the tour, we actually had Peter Criss sitting with us.
At the Wiltern Theater.
That was and Anton was playing drums that night. Was it?
I don't know if it was Anton. Yeah, it must have been.
I think Anton was on a case. We started the band with Anton. When Frehley's Comet got released, he got the gig with the David Letterman show, which is hard to turn down. So unfortunately, rarely we'd get to tour with him. On occasion, he'd come in and sit in. We recorded an album in Chicago with Anton.
Yeah, that was, it was so great to play them, especially when we did the 2 weeks he had a vacation, and we recorded
That's right.
Live+1.
There's no drummer that played the Comet stuff that way. But having Peter Criss sit in on, I think it was Deuce. I think he sat in on Deuce, yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I remember that night as well. I mean, I feel like, I don't remember a lot of things. I don't know why. My retention is shitty. But I remember Peter. That was a blast. I just looked at Johnny. We backed him like,
yeah, he's a sweet guy. Well, you all know. He's a wonderful man.
What song did you guys play when Gene and Paul were jamming with you guys on stage in New York?
It would have been Deuce or Rocket Ride, or I don't remember. I was so flabbergasted.
It was. I think we had more fun watching the audience because they were just going out of their fucking minds.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just bouncing, and I think I saw a photographer fall from somewhere over here, and I was like, Jesus Christ, settle down. But it was great fun because they were having a great time. So our entertainment was off the stage.
Which happens a lot, by the way. So you all are a lot more of a show than we are, whether you realize it or not. Yeah. Especially when you get down to Texas and it's warm out, and there's a lot of disrobing going on.
Yeah.
John, there was another time, I believe, where you were rehearsing, or at least Peter said he wanted to lay down some tracks in Joe Renda's studio that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Where Peter wanted to lay down some songs, and can you tell us anything about that night? Or?
Well, all I remember is we rehearsed Stand By Me, the old classic. Who did Stand By Me originally? It was like an R&B song.
I don't remember.
And Peter Criss loved Stand By Me. And we probably played it for 6 straight hours because he just wanted to keep playing and singing. I don't know how much actually got recorded, though, at North Lake.
Okay. Speaking of Joe Renda's studio, what can you tell us about this infamous side project of Crazy Joe Renda, the Eugene song on the album?
Yeah, Eugene was a character that I believe Ace knew in real life. This guy was pretty much a lunatic. So we had a studio at our disposal, which we never had before. A friend of ours owned it, so we would basically show up once a week and record the stupidest song, most offensive song we could think of, just because we could, never thinking anyone would hear it other than us. It was kind of like our own little inside joke. So we ended up recording this track called Eugene, where Ace, the only thing Ace actually played on Eugene was, back in the day, there was a thing called a syndrome. He just hit it and kind of went, oh. That's what he played on the record. But what he contributed was his knowledge of this character and all of these lines. I stick my hands in fans for fun, which this guy Eugene used to do, I guess. So it became kind of a cult classic, and that is on YouTube. Again, if you put in Ace Frehley, either Crazy Joe or Eugene, you'll hear the song. Don't hold it against me, please, if you hear it, because it wasn't meant to be heard by anyone, but it ended up selling quite a few records. And
You guys even made a video, right?
we made a $50 video that was on a show called Rock World. It came on after Saturday Night Live in New York on Saturday evenings, and our $50 video premiered right ahead of Paul McCartney's probably $250,000 video.
$250,000 video and then the quarter video.
Yeah, the 25-cent video, and our $50 video included pizza. So,
Speaking about videos, there was two video shoots that Frehley's Comet did that stand out. The first one I think was
Insane.
Take it away. That's what it was. That's where exactly where I was going.
No, I mean, it's kind of obvious, really insane. I mean, all the beautiful women in the nurse's outfit. Now, I like the women, so I like the women. And because I like women, I like women. So this was a good video. And we had a lot of fun doing it. What, 2 days? 2 days we took doing that?
that was only an hour. It might have seemed like 2 days for you.
It was 2 days for me.
No, it was a 2-day video of scantily clad women, and the European version of it gets a little more to the point than the Americanized clean version, whatever that means. But you had fun.
I did have fun. I mean,
I was married, so I didn't have any fun.
I was actually a good boy. I just like to pretend I wasn't.
How about Ace?
Ace?
No comment.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's
Yeah.
I'll leave that one alone.
All right, moving on to the Into the Night video. How about that one?
Into the Night, that was shot in San Francisco, in the, I think it was the Garment District downtown, closer to the water. It wasn't probably as cold as here in the winter, I know that for a fact, but it was cold because in California on the coast, the west coast, in the water in the middle of the night or 3 o'clock in the morning, it can get chilly. I drove up with my then wife, who ended up being in the It's Over Now video, but we drove up from San Diego and we met Ace and John and Billy Ward, and we did the video and closed down some streets, did a whole bunch of stuff, and it was a lot of fun, but it was a little cool, but what else do you remember, Tony?
Remember, it was cold, and I couldn't believe that we shut down like 3 blocks of San Francisco to shoot our video.
Yeah, it was memorable. I mean, only that you got to command so much redirecting of what traffic there was.
And that was the first video that Billy Ward played drums on.
Yeah, he studied that track. He rented a place. Billy Ward rented a place and studied the track and learned every move. And it looked good because every move he played, he was imitating Anton Fig. So that was, kudos to him for doing that.
Yeah, because videos where the parts don't match the music is like the Italian westerns where it's like, I don't know. So he put a lot of work into it, and then we did Rock Soldiers with big red hair flowing.
We did that in Canada.
Now we had Richie Scarlett here last year in the KISS convention in Helsinki, and John, you mentioned that he was in the first incarnation of Frehley's Comet. How did the transition go from Richie to Todd?
Well, like I had mentioned, we started the first project and we rehearsed the songs. We had a record deal, and then the record company went bankrupt in England. Bronze Records, I believe it was. So at that point, we were all young, we had families, we had people to support. So we all went our separate ways. Anton and I joined a band called Scandal with Patty Smythe. Richie went and did his solo project, which he still does to this day. And when it was time to regroup, I'm sure Richie was busy, but I had a little more say in it, and I really wanted to bring Todd in. I felt at that time what we needed to do was to have a different dimension in it, and that's why I invited Todd to come in and sit in.
I think the balance is probably going to be a little bit more guitar and some keyboards as opposed to keyboards at that point, Arthur.
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't really know the whole background of what was going on. I just knew that I was needed, and so back then I was posed with a lot of questions, and people wanted to know, why I was doing the project or how I got to do the project. Well, I was asked. That's all I knew.
Things just kind of happen. I do a bunch of interviews, and a lot of the questions I get, people think there's a lot more thought process that goes into it. But oddly enough, and Todd can attest to this, with Frampton's band, with any John, with any bands we're in, a lot of times, if a lineup change had to be made, we would just kind of look at each other and go, you know anybody? I don't know anybody. There's really a lot less goes into it than you really think. But the main thing is it has to happen organically, it has to happen naturally, which is kind of what we ended up with this new project that we're doing called 4 by Fate. We're going to be in, where are we going to be?
In Norway on August 8th. There's a KISS convention in Norway on August 8th.
Yes.
Where the whole band, 4 by Fate, is going to be.
We're going to play our whole show, and then
the next day, August 9th, playing on a huge festival in Belgium called the Alcatraz Festival in Kortrijk, Belgium, on August 9th.
Twisted Sister.
Twisted Sister headlining, yes.
And Wasp, I believe, is going to be.
Yes.
So that's going to be fun.
It'll be a great show.
And we have in that band